first corner went out of the ball.
And back in the 8th row, in an unaccustomed position for him, is number 43, the king of the sport, Richard Petty, driving with a neck injury that he sustained a month ago at this crash at the Pocono Raceway in Pennsylvania.
Jim, Richard was going into the second turn at Pocono, but right there, he lost his right front wheel and helplessly careened right there into the wall. But at this point in the crash, the damage was all on the right side of the car. Richard was still fine inside. There's Buddy Baker going by in front of you. Now watch this. Chuck Bone appears spinning backward. He gets by Richard. Now, here comes Darrell Waltrip for the hit. Waltrip, at that point, right into Petty's door. That's when Richard was injured in that crash, right at that point.
Richard Petty has had serious contact with the tire barrier.
There is a little bit of fire in the right front, Bob. I'm going to walk down to the edge of the racetrack and just see if Richard is moving around in the car. Rusty Wallace was trying to get by him. I think Richard was trying to move over to let Rusty by and got off course.
There's one of the tires from the tire barrier. This is not off one of the cars, but from the stacks of tires that help absorb any impact.
Hey, Richard, you okay? Richard is moving around in the car.
Good.
He is moving around, but
his pit crew is concerned, and here now are the safety officials that are arriving on the scene of the crash.
Be sure and somebody go by and tell Dale Inman that Richard is moving around in the car.
There's been a crash on the home stretch, a car upside down. A new car, it is Richard Petty.
That remains one of the worst crashes I think you ever see.
It's one of those wrecks that you want to go like that.
He comes down to the inside of the track, slams into that concrete wall.
He hit that inside guardrail so hard.
This could be a very bad accident to one of the best-known race drivers in the world.
Richard came out of that corner and lost the car and hit the wall and was airborne. And
car flips, but he comes out of the car.
Flipping 3 or 4 times with Richard hanging halfway out the window.
There was no net in the window at that time.
His arm ended up hanging out the window.
His arm partly comes out.
Hopefully that's all that's going to come out of the car.
When that car landed there,
You think he's dead. That's one you look at and you go, he is not going to walk away.
But what is Richard's condition, could you tell?
Right, his head's beat on, bloody, and his eyes hurt a little bit. He'll be all right, though.
He's alive?
it wasn't quite as bad as it seemed.
Some of the impacts that look like are nothing or big, and some of the impacts that look big or nothing.
All he had was a broken collarbone.
The impacts were at such sharp angles and at such high speed.
That was one of those accidents.
That moment right there changed our sport forever.
That's what led to the safety nets.
My grandmother made a window net for my father's car, and a little bit later, then NASCAR started to mandate them.